Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. It entered into my mind just this morning as I was in prayer and study. I remember Sister Carol and we were driving down the road, and in Gallatin, there's a little small township outside of the big city of Nashville. And of course, you pass by some pretty ritzy areas because these people, I don't know where they get their money from, but man, they make a lot of money. Some of these people do. But I looked at her and I said, I want you to look over there. And she looked over there because there's symbolism. We are inundated with symbolism all across this land. And most of us, we just think it's decor or declarations. But let me try to add something to our minds and our conscience, if I may, but just for a moment, try to intrude into our minds. Please listen to me. Some time ago, long time ago, when I was a youth, I accepted that there are people in this world that's a whole lot more intelligent than I am or ever will be. I also comprehended and understood at a very early age that I don't have all the answers. And of course, if I'm going to be wise, I'm going to have to actually listen to wise people. Now, I would tell you, unless the Father show you who is a wise man, I hope you have a prosperous journey trying to find one. And when you do find one, let him know and tell him thank you for being wise. Because the one thing I've learned about being wise, or if you're going to be a man of wisdom, this goes contrary and it flies right in the face of all logic and thought. If you're going to be wise in this world, you have to, first admit that you are a fool. Now, how many people are going to do that? Because, the pride of man is just not about to let him admit that he is literally a fool. So, but anyway, we were driving down the road and I had her to look over there because I remember I started this video about symbolism. We have symbolism everywhere. And it's really hidden in plain sight. Did you hear what I just said? I said we have symbolism everywhere that is literally hidden in plain sight. I mean, right in front of you, okay? And as I started thinking about this, all right, and I showed her a particular symbol. I said, look at that symbol. What is that? And of course, Sister Carol said it's a pine cone. I said, yep, it sure is. It is a pine cone. At least that's what they want all the people who are uninformed, the people who are ignorant. Now, do you know that it's really, truly not an insult upon you or against you to admit, or if someone call you ignorant? You see, what happens with us is that anytime someone says something, what we call negative or what we call a put down, the first thing we do is, rather than awaken conscious to try to figure out exactly what power and energy this is coming from so we can be able to perceive and then make rational choices and decisions. Because after all, listen to me. If someone makes a statement that you're ignorant, then the burden of proof from that point on, it's on you. So rather than immediately taking defense and trying to justify ourselves against what we will call, quote unquote, somebody insulting us, I think that in this generation that we're living in now, that it would be a very, 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 very intelligent choice that if someone did say that to us, or even implied it, rather than allowing ourselves to be carried away with feeling and emotions, I think that we should actually stop for a moment and consider what's being said. Is it really truly a letdown? Or in this particular area or subject, are you really truly ignorant? Well, in this case, ignorance is just simply not knowing. And remember, God's people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And why are we destroyed for lack of knowledge? Simply because we reject it. There are a lot of things that I say on my videos. I speak about many, many different subjects, mostly about the heart. And And I talk about, everybody knows the social, political, economic, and the religious perspectives and point of views in this world. I do all the time trying my best to give knowledge to those who want it. And then from that point on, the ball's in your court. It's totally up to you what you're going to do with it. It's none of my business from that point. I've done my job. I mean, after all, at the end of the day, all I am is a presenter of information. And where you choose to take that information and apply it to your life and grow from that decision, the choice is yours. Anyway, back to the pine cone. All right. She said the pine cone. I said, yeah, that's what they want you to see. And you think about this. Maybe this video would have your eyes to be open. Or, look at this. There's a thing out there in the occult realms. Or there's a thing out there in the hidden mysteries that they call the third eye. Now, let me just make it simple for you, okay? The third eye is really referring to a gland that is in your brain. It's called a pineal gland. And the pineal gland is actually, it has sight. It has sight, just like the retina of your eyes. And, this pineal gland, it regulates sleep, dreams, behavior, intuition. It secretes serotonin. That's the happy gene that goes on you. And that's the reason why, the scriptures often say that laughter is medicine to the soul. All right. But the pineal gland is a gland that actually controls a lot about you. It really truly does. The pineal gland, you can probably Google it and look it up here on the internet. But what's amazing, what's funny? This pineal gland is actually shaped like a pine cone. Think about that for a second. If you Google and go to Vatican City and just type in pine cone, you'll notice that there's this big, gigantic pine cone that is erected right there in the Vatican. And also, if you go to different driveways, you'll see pine cones on top of it. Is this just decor, or are they really, truly trying to tell you something? Because, this pineal gland is just, it's more than what meets the eye. Most people have no idea what in the world it is, what it's about, and how it's been used in history. And that's just a fact. That's just the truth. The reason why I'm here this morning is because I want to talk to you about what's going on in our world today and how this pineal gland, or commonly referred to in some arenas and realms as the third eye, or the third eye of perception. That's where a lot of times when the scripture is making reference to, and their eyes were open, it's not talking about these natural eyes, because you can clearly see. It's talking about a particular eye that's open, the eye of perception, the eye of sight. I just, it's very hard and difficult to try to speak to people about certain things like this. I'll tell you what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to show you an image, 2 images right here, to show you what I'm talking about, this pine cone. And I'll be right back here in just a second before I continue on the reason why that I started this video here this morning. there is, and the reason why I'm here right now this morning, because I haven't made the determination yet, but it's snowing. It's snowing here again. And so rather than doing my morning walk, I call it breakfast bread, walking to the dining hall and just giving out information, whatever comes to my mind, I try to do my best to make sure I'm instrumental in the furtherance of people's education, not training, but education. Because you see, I have this uncanny ability to be able to, to talk about things that you never even recognized. You see, perception is open when truth is given to you. Whereas before, the best place to hide something with people or human beings is just to put it right up under their nose. Really, just if you want to hide something from someone, put it right up under their nose. And they will not see it. They will literally not see it. So there's a lot of things that are going on in our country, in this country right here. And there are a lot of things that are going on around you that people who join different secret societies, they know full well what's going on. But the masses are just literally dumbed down. And speaking of dumbed down and going back into the pineal gland, which I'm sure that many of you have, after I've showed you those images, now watch what's going to happen. You're going to be driving down the road, or you're going to be somewhere and you're going to be looking around, and all of a sudden, because the word that I've given you here this morning is going to click something in that ministry, it's going to open up your understanding, your comprehension, your perception. And when you see a pine cone from this time forward, you're going to know what that thing stands for. And it's just not decor. It's not architect. There is a message being communicated. All right. But the reason why I'm here is because a long, long time ago, the Nazis, they did something when they enslaved the poor of the Jews. They soaked them and immersed them with fluoride. Now you watch this. Today, we got the FDA, we have everybody in a government institution telling us that fluoride is good for us. Now watch this. And let me throw a disclaimer. I am telling you what I personally believe and what I do. You make your own choices and decisions. I've determined that fluoride is not good for me, but you may determine that it's good for you after people give you dissenting perspectives and point of views, but you have to make your choice and decision. So all I'm doing is presenting information to you. You make your own choice, you make your own decision. But as for me in my house, we don't use fluoride. As a matter of fact, we haven't had a fluoride product or even fluoride water in over 25 years or 30 years, something like that. But we just don't do stuff. We just don't ingest poison. We don't do that. Now, you may not think it's a poison because you have so many people out here telling you how good fluoride is for you. Well, what does fluoride have to do with the pineal gland? Well, this is where Pastor Dow comes into play. You see, besides the kidneys in the body, which is the number one source of blood flow in the whole entire body, the pineal gland is number two. And do you know what negative ingredient that the pineal gland absorbs into its area more than anything? Why, you guessed it, fluoride. And what does it do? It gives people that lethargic state. Not only that lethargic state, but it actually causes people to be passive. Look at this. And it actually causes them to be non-confrontational. It causes them to be docile. If you listen to my videos any length of time, you know I've used the 3 Ds and added another one: dumb, dormant, docile, demoralized, number 4, and then I added another one on there: demonized. And they learned a long, long time ago that this can actually create a very passive people, a people that just simply cannot perceive, comprehend, or think for themselves. So when we see people today having a hard time acknowledging truth, you have no further to look than how much fluoride they are ingesting in their diet. Did you know that over 90% of the municipal water supply in America contains an extraordinary amount of fluoride in it? I'm stretching here because I'm getting tight. And did you also know, besides the fluoride, that it's in a lot of products. Water, some of it, water that you buy from the store. It's in toothpaste. I mean, fluoride is in just about everything. It's in vaccines. And my personal opinion, again, this is what I don't believe that it's good for me. You make your own choices and own decisions. So I don't use it. And that's probably the reason why that people would consider me, confrontational. Because see, what this fluoride does is it causes a calcification. I think I'm saying that right. Or it calcifies the pineal gland. That place where you can have the ability to perceive. It regulates behavior. It determines memory. A lot of times people will say, I take some melatonin or something like that for memory and stuff. But what you need to do is try to figure out a process of how to cleanse your system of fluoride so that you can actually open up the pineal gland so that your perception, your understanding, your knowledge can actually be increased. Because the truth is, some of us are just simply not operating on a fully activated mind. In the religious realm, it's called the seat of the soul or the seat of the conscious. But what I'm getting to is, if you notice that now, fluoride is included in rat poison. Yep, check it out. It's one of the main ingredients in rat poison. But yet and still, they tell us it's good for us to ingest. Now, you're going to have to make a determination here. But the pineal gland is shaped just like them pine cones that I just showed you. And so remember this, that whenever you see that pineal gland, or whenever you see, the pine cone, you know what it's making reference to. It's making reference to the third eye. Now, that gland is pretty, oh boy, I mean, it's pretty extensive. It has a lot of functions to do. But consider what I say, and I hope that some way, somehow, I've been some type of an example for your furtherance in education and spiritual knowledge and comprehension. But just know this, that in this country right here, this heathen pagan land that we live in, that when you see stuff hanging, there's a message behind it, whether you comprehend it, understand it or not. And when you start seeing symbolism, you need to start questioning what's going on. Because there are signs that are communicating to the people who have knowledge or the ones who are in the know in that particular area. There's nothing new under the sun. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope I've done something to be able to reveal to you to some of the mysteries of mysticism and Eastern religion, as well as the truth about what's really, 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 truly going on. But you get a chance, go Google and look in that courtyard of the Vatican and see that big old cone there. It's there for a reason. Just like that obelisk. It's in the Vatican too. You know what's amazing? That obelisk is also in ancient Egypt. You know what? They call that obelisk today in America the Washington Monument. What in the world is going on today? Maybe you'll start listening to me.